Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the exciting world of rare coins, and I'm about to reveal a Washington $quarter coin that's worth an unbelievable $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.8 million for a coin that was minted in 1980. Stick around to find out exactly why this coin is so valuable, and how you could potentially find one yourself. Let's get started. Now, you might be wondering, how could a coin minted just a few decades ago be worth so much money? After all, it's not exactly an ancient artifact. Well, in the world of coin collecting, it's not always about the age of the coin. Sometimes, it's all about rare errors, minting conditions, and collector demand. The 1980p Washington $quarter is one of those coins. It was produced at the Philadelphia Mint in large quantities. But it wasn't the regular issue of this coin that caught the attention of collectors. There was something rare and special about this particular year and mint mark. To start, let's talk about the typical 1980p Washington $quarter. These coins were minted for general circulation, and most of them were used as pocket change. But here's the kicker: a small percentage of these quarters were struck with an error. This error is what makes certain 1980p Washington quarters worth a small fortune. Okay, let's break down the error. Some 1980p quarters were struck with a slight misalignment during the minting process. This error, called a doubled die obverse, results in a doubled image on the front of the coin, the obverse. This means the letters and the details on George Washington's portrait appear to be doubled. Now, this doubling isn't obvious to the naked eye, so you'll need a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to catch it. Finding one of these double die coins is rare. The error didn't happen to a large portion of the mintage, which is why this particular coin has skyrocketed in value over time. So, why is this coin worth such an astronomical sum? Well, it's all about rarity and demand. You see, this error is highly sought after by collectors, and only a few of these coins with the double die error have been confirmed. The rarity of these error coins, combined with the historical significance of the Washington $quarter and the demand from collectors, has caused the price to soar. In fact, there have been reports of some 1980p Washington quarters with this error selling for up to $1.8 million at auction. It's a huge return on investment if you're lucky enough to find one. Now you're probably thinking, how do I know if I have one of these valuable error coins? It's all about looking for the doubled features. You'll want to examine the obverse, where George Washington's portrait is. Specifically, focus on the letters of liberty, the date 1980, and the words "In God We Trust." If you notice that the letters look doubled or blurry, you may have a double die error coin on your hands. But don't just rely on your eyes alone, use a magnifying glass to get a closer look. In some cases, the doubling can be quite subtle. Now, like any collectible, condition is key. A 1980p Washington $quarter that's in pristine condition will always fetch a higher price than one that's been worn down by years of circulation. So, what's considered a pristine coin? Well, coins with minimal wear, sharp details, and clear imagery are graded higher. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. Coins that are graded MS65, mint state 65, or higher have been known to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the finest examples of the 1980p double die obverse error can fetch close to $1.8 million. So, how do you go about finding one of these rare coins? Well, you'll want to check through rolls of quarters that you may already have, or search through those old jars of change you've been storing for years. You never know, the next quarter you find might be worth millions. Once you've found one, it's important to get your coin professionally graded. A certified coin grading service, like PCGS or NGC, will be able to tell you exactly what your coin is worth. If it's in great condition and has that double die error, you could be looking at a life-changing windfall. After that, you can sell your coin at a coin auction, through a dealer, or even on specialized online marketplaces for rare coins. While it's exciting to think about the potential value of a rare coin, it's important to remember that not every 1980p Washington $quarter is worth millions. Most of these coins are just regular quarters, but if you're diligent and know what to look for, you might just find that one in a million coin. So start checking your spare change, folks. You never know when you might uncover a hidden treasure. And if you do find that rare 1980p Washington quarter with the double die error, well, congratulations. You might just be sitting on a fortune. 1965 No Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar, and believe it or not, it's worth $1.7 million. Now, I know that might sound unbelievable, but stick around, because we're going to dive deep into what makes this coin so special, and why it could be sitting in your collection waiting to make you rich. So, let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. The design is iconic, with Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. But fast forward to 1965, and that's when things start to get really interesting. Why? Because in 1965, something unusual happened that could make your 1965 Washington quarter worth millions. Now, the 1965 quarter was part of a major change in U.S. coinage. The U.S. Mint had just transitioned to using a copper-nickel-clad composition for the quarters, which replaced the previous 90% silver content. This was done to save on silver during a time of rising metal costs. The interesting part is that while the Mint was making these changes, they also made some significant errors, and that's where the 1965 No Mint Mark Washington quarter comes into play. Okay, let's talk about what makes this coin so valuable. In 1965, quarters were typically minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins struck in Philadelphia were usually without a mint mark, while those from Denver had a D, and those from San Francisco had an S. But in 1965, something odd happened. The Philadelphia Mint accidentally omitted the mint mark entirely on some of their quarters, even though they were supposed to have it.so. If you've got a 1965 Washington quarter with no mint mark, you've got a rare error coin. And when I say rare, I mean it. There were far fewer 1965 no mint mark quarters produced compared to the ones from Denver or San Francisco. That makes it highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's get to the million-dollar question. How much is the 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter actually worth? Depending on its condition, this coin can be valued at a whopping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.7 million. This isn't some fantasy figure either. Coins like this have been sold at auction for incredible prices, thanks to their rarity and the historical error behind them. But, and this is crucial, not all 1965 no mint mark quarters are worth that much. To get top dollar, the coin has to be in pristine condition, ideally graded as MS67 or higher. Coins with any kind of wear or tarnish will naturally be worth less, so it's important to properly grade and assess your coin's condition before thinking it could fetch a fortune. Alright, so how do you actually identify a 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter? Well, the most important thing is to check the obverse side of the coin for any mint mark. Unlike quarters from Denver and San Francisco, your 1965 no mint mark coin will have no D or S under Washington's portrait. It should just be smooth. The only mark you'll see is the date 1965 and, of course, Washington's image. But remember, just because it's a 1965 quarter with no mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth a fortune. There are some fake or altered coins out there, so make sure to verify your coin's authenticity before jumping to conclusions. Now, let's take a step back and talk about why this error coin even exists in the first place. The Philadelphia Mint was one of the busiest mints in the country at the time. In 1965, they were handling a massive workload due to the transition in coin composition and the increased demand for quarters during the coin shortage. It's believed that during this hectic period, some coins were struck without a mint mark, which was a mistake that slipped past the mint's quality control. This is one of the reasons why there are so few of these coins available today, adding to their rarity. So, if you're lucky enough to have a 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter, how do you go about selling it for its true value? The first thing I recommend is getting it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. They'll grade your coin based on its condition, and the higher the grade, the higher the potential value. Next, you'll want to take it to a reputable auction house or rare coin dealer. These experts can help you get the best price for your coin and ensure it reaches the right collectors who are willing to pay top dollar. And if you're looking to sell it online, make sure you're working with a trusted platform that specializes in rare coins. Always have your coin appraised by an expert first to make sure you're not underselling it. To sum up, the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is one of the rarest and most valuable era coins out there, with some examples fetching as much as $1.7 million at auction. If you think you might have one sitting in your collection, now's the time to check it closely. And remember, condition is everything, so make sure it's in great shape and authenticated by a professional. 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar coin, a coin that has earned a jaw-dropping value of $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.8 million. So, how exactly did this coin rise to such a remarkable value? What makes the 1967 no-mint mark quarter so rare? And what should you look for if you think you might have one? Stick around because we're going to cover all of that and more in today's video. Before we zoom in on the 1967 no-mint mark quarter, let's first take a quick look at the history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, and it features the iconic image of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. It was created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. This coin has become a staple of American coinage. Now, over the years, there have been different mint marks for the Washington quarter, including D4 Denver, S4 San Francisco, and even P4 Philadelphia. But what makes the 1967 no-mint mark quarter stand out? Let's dive into that next. In 1967, the U.S. Mint stopped adding mint marks to coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint, but that was only supposed to be temporary. By 1968, they resumed placing the P Mint mark on quarters. So, why does this 1967 quarter lack any mint mark, and why is it so valuable? Well, the 1967 no-mint mark quarter was produced in Philadelphia, but it was one of those rare instances where, due to a mistake or oversight, no mint mark was struck on the coin. While this seems like a simple error, it actually makes the coin a sought-after rarity among collectors. Remember, errors like this are not common. The value of a coin with a minting mistake often depends on how rare the error is, how many coins were affected, and the overall condition of the coin. The 1967 no-mint mark quarter falls into the category of being exceptionally rare, and that's a huge reason why it's worth $1.8 million. Now, let's talk numbers. Why has the value of the 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter skyrocketed to $1.8 million? Well, the key factors are rarity and demand. There are only a small number of these coins in existence, and even fewer in excellent condition. When it comes to rare coins, condition is everything. The 1967 no-mint mark quarter that sold for $1.8 million was graded in near-perfect condition. That means it was preserved incredibly well over the decades. Coins like this are incredibly valuable because they represent the best example of the error. The higher the grade, the higher the value. To give you an idea, coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of 65 or higher is considered excellent, and when you get a coin graded at 67 or 68, it can command millions of dollars. So, if you have one of these 1967 no-mint mark quarters and it's in good shape, you're sitting on something special. Now, if you're wondering how you can tell if you have a 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter, it's actually quite simple, or at least it should be. All you have to do is look at the back of the coin. Normally, a mint-marked coin will show a small D, S, or P next to the eagle on the reverse side. But the 1967 no-mint mark quarter is missing that crucial letter. Another thing to keep in mind is the overall wear and tear. If the coin looks worn down, with little detail in Washington's hair or the eagle's feathers, it won't be worth anywhere near that $1.8 million. It's essential that the coin has minimal scratches and retains as much of its original luster as possible. So, where can you find one of these elusive 1967 no-mint mark quarters? It's unlikely that you'll stumble upon one in your loose change, but it's definitely worth checking any coin collections you come across. auctions and professional coin dealers are your best bet for acquiring one of these rare pieces. And of course, it never hurts to look on online coin marketplaces. Just remember, buying or selling a coin like this should be done through trusted channels, and always make sure to get a proper grade and certification before making a deal. Now, why do people get so excited about collecting coins like the 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter? Well, coins are not just a way to store wealth, they represent history. Collectors love the stories behind each coin, the minting errors, the unique design, and the journey a coin has taken through time. Coin collecting is a hobby that spans generations. A coin like the 1967 no-mint mark quarter isn't just valuable because of its monetary worth, but because it's a piece of history that connects us to the past. So, there you have it, the story of the 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter-dollar coin, and how it can be worth a whopping $1.8 million. If you're lucky enough to have one of these coins in your collection, take care of it. And for everyone else, keep an eye out. Who knows what kind of treasures might be hiding in your spare change, or that old jar of coins you've been meaning to sort through. 1983 P Mint Mark Washington Quarter Dollar. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, it features a striking image of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The design has remained largely unchanged over the years, making it one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. The 1983 P Mint Mark Washington quarter, however, stands out from the rest of the pack, not because of its design, but because of the rarity and unique characteristics that make it so valuable. Most of these quarters are still worth face value, but a rare few, like the one we're discussing today, can sell for millions. Now you might be wondering, what makes this specific coin so special? Well, the 1983 P Mint Mark Washington quarter wasn't supposed to stand out. In fact, when it was first released, it didn't raise any eyebrows. It was part of the regular production of U.S. coins, stamped at the Philadelphia Mint. However, in the world of coin collecting, sometimes it's the imperfections and anomalies that are worth a fortune. In the case of the 1983 P Washington quarter, there are a few key factors that make it extraordinarily valuable. First, there's the rarity. The U.S. Mint produced over 500 million quarters in 1983, but only a few hundred of them were struck with a unique minting error. These coins are often referred to as high-relief Washington quarters, meaning the design features on the coin are unusually pronounced. This results from a problem with the die used to strike the coins, which caused some of them to have a higher than usual relief and, in some cases, very sharp features. If you've got one of these, it's worth a lot more than face value. Narrator on screen, zooming in on a 1983 P quarter coin with a magnifying glass. So, how do you identify if you've got a rare 1983 P Washington quarter on your hands? Let's break it down. First, you'll need a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to get a closer look. What you're looking for is a very distinct feature on the coin's surface, an unusually high relief, meaning the detail on Washington's profile will seem more raised than normal. The sharpness of Washington's profile is a huge giveaway. Most quarters from this year don't have this effect, so finding one with this sharpness is a great indicator of its rarity. Also, check the date and mint mark. The P Mint mark is located to the right of Washington's neck. If your quarter is a regular 1983 P quarter, it's not worth millions, unless it has that striking high-relief feature or another rare error that happened during its production. Look for other signs of wear and tear. The rare quarters that have been sold for large sums often have very little damage and exhibit a mint-like quality. Narrator on screen, showing a coin auction with high-value coins. So, why exactly is the 1983 P Washington quarter worth such an eye-watering $1.9 million? Well, here's the deal. When a coin like this has a unique minting error, like the high-relief feature, it becomes a sought-after treasure among collectors. But it's not just any collector who would pay millions for a coin. It's high-end collectors, investors, and even museums that are willing to pay top dollar for a coin that could become a centerpiece of their collection. Coins like the 1983p Washington quarter that have a well-documented rarity and unique characteristics can fetch astronomical amounts in the right auction setting. The $1.9 million value isn't a random guess. It's the result of years of collecting, research, and identifying rare and unique coins that have made their way into the hands of those who appreciate them for their value. Moreover, this coin is rare because of its condition. Most 1983p quarters circulated heavily and have wear, making high-quality examples incredibly rare and highly prized. Narrator on screen, showing online marketplaces and auction houses. If you think you've got your hands on a 1983p Washington quarter with that rare high-relief feature, you may be wondering where you can sell it. The best place to start is by contacting reputable coin dealers or heading to a specialized auction house that deals with rare U.S. coins. Some great options include Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other major coin auction platforms. If you're lucky enough to own a rare coin, an auction setting could be your best chance to get top dollar for it. Don't forget that professional grading by organizations like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, can also increase your coin's value by ensuring its authenticity and quality. So, now you know about the 1983p Washington quarter and why it's worth a potential $1.9 million. Keep an eye out for those rare high-relief features, and who knows, you could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. 1990D Washington quarter dollar coin, worth a staggering $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. This coin is worth a lot more than its face value, and if you happen to find one in great condition, you could be looking at a life-changing amount of money. Before we get into the specifics, let's go over some basics for those of you who might not be familiar with the Washington quarter dollar. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. But today, we're focusing on the 1990D edition. Now, as you can see, the mint mark on a coin is key to determining its rarity and value. The D mint mark on the 1990 quarter indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the primary U.S. minting facilities. The 1990D quarter was part of the regular minting process. But there's a catch, it wasn't just any regular quarter. What makes the 1990D Washington quarter dollar so valuable? It's all about its rarity and condition. In 1990, millions of quarters were minted, but very few of them stand out. Coins that survive in perfect, or near-perfect condition can be worth much more than you'd expect. We're talking about grades like MS-67 or higher. That's where the $1.8 million price tag comes in. If you're unfamiliar with coin grading, it's a way of assessing a coin's condition based on its appearance. A grade of mint state 67 means the coin is nearly flawless, with sharp details and minimal to no imperfections. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. In the case of the 1990D Washington quarter, one coin that achieved a grade of MS-67 was sold at auction for a mind-blowing $1.8 million. That coin, in near-perfect condition, fetched a price higher than what most people could ever imagine. But you might be wondering, what makes this particular coin so special? Well, aside from the perfect grade, the 1990D Washington quarter has some unique characteristics that set it apart from others. First, it's a great example of why condition is king in the world of coin collecting. The 1990D quarters minted at the Denver Mint were produced in large numbers, but many have been worn down or damaged over time. So, finding one in excellent condition is incredibly rare. Some collectors even believe that the perfect condition of these rare 1990D coins reflects the quality control efforts at the Denver Mint during that year. Minting errors or inconsistencies can also increase a coin's value, but in this case, it's the pristine condition that makes this particular coin worth so much. The $1.8 million coin we're talking about was sold at one of the most prestigious coin auctions in history. Collectors from all over the world were bidding fiercely for this piece of history. This high price was due to the rarity of the coin, its near-flawless condition, and the fact that it was part of an elite group of coins that collectors consider investment pieces. Now you might be asking, how do I find a 1990D Washington quarter worth that much? Well, unfortunately, not all of them are going to be worth millions. But that doesn't mean there aren't ways to spot a valuable coin. First, take a look at your quarters from 1990. Check the mint mark. If it's a D, that's the first step in identifying it as a potential valuable coin. Next, examine the condition. If the coin has very little wear or scratches, and the details on George Washington's profile, the eagle on the reverse, and the lettering are sharp, you might be looking at something worth a lot more than just 25 cents. Of course, even a coin in great condition might not fetch $1.8 million unless it's graded by a professional service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. A certified coin is much easier to sell, and it gives buyers confidence in the authenticity and condition of the coin. Once your coin is graded, you can research similar coins that have been sold at auction or through dealers to get a sense of its value. Remember, coin values can fluctuate based on demand and market trends, so it's always a good idea to keep track of the latest sales and auction results. So, what makes this 1990 D Washington quarter so special is not just its minting year or its design, but the extraordinary combination of rarity, condition, and the intense interest from collectors and investors. While finding a 1990 D quarter worth $1.8 million may be a long shot, it's still a reminder of how valuable your pocket change can be, if you know where to look. 1992 D Washington quarter. Stick around, because we're diving into everything you need to know about this highly coveted coin. First, let's start with the basics. The 1992 D Washington quarter was minted by the United States Mint and features a classic design, George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. It's a coin that, for the most part, you could find in circulation without giving it much thought. But when you come across a rare version of this coin, it could be worth a lot more than you think. So, what makes the 1992 D Washington quarter worth a staggering $1.7 million? Well, to put it simply, it's all about the minting error. This coin was produced with a unique flaw that wasn't noticed during production, and it wasn't until collectors started to spot it that the value began to rise. You see, most coins are created with perfect designs, but mistakes sometimes slip through the cracks, and when they do, they make a coin incredibly valuable. The 1992 D Washington quarter in question features an unusual die crack or a double die error. This is where the design appears more than once, creating a slight doubling effect on the image or text. This error isn't something that would have been obvious to the average person, but collectors with a keen eye started noticing it in the late 1990s. The double die or die crack can be subtle, but it's significant enough to increase the value. So, how did this error come to light? Well, the discovery of the 1992 D quarter was actually a bit of a lucky find. Back in the early 2000s, a coin collector stumbled upon a batch of 1992 D quarters in their change and noticed the unusual doubling in the design. At first, many thought it was just a minor flaw or a type of damage, but once experts began to analyze it, they realized it was a genuine minting error that made the coin incredibly rare. Now, let's get to the million-dollar question: how much is this coin worth? A 1992 D Washington quarter in pristine condition with the doubling error can be valued at up to $1.7 million, depending on its quality and the market demand at the time. But it's not just any 1992 D. Collectors will pay top dollar for quarters that exhibit this error in uncirculated or mint state condition, with sharp details and minimal wear. So, how do you know if you've found a valuable 1992 D quarter? Well, you'll need to look closely. The error will usually be visible on the words, Liberty, and In God We Trust, or around the eagle on the reverse side. A doubling or crack in these areas is what gives the coin its added value. To help you spot it, grab a magnifying glass or even better, a coin loupe, and examine the design carefully. If you think you've found a 1992 D Washington quarter with a minting error, don't just assume it's worth millions. The condition of the coin is key. To get an accurate appraisal, take it to a professional numismatist or a reputable coin dealer. They can help you assess the grade and verify if it's a true mint error. You might also want to consider getting it graded by organizations like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Now, the market for rare coins can be volatile. The value of a coin depends on a variety of factors, including its rarity, demand, and condition. A 1992 D Washington quarter with a minting error might fetch millions at an auction, but prices can fluctuate over time, so it's important to stay informed about the current market trends. If you're new to coin collecting or just want to learn more about rare coins, here are a few quick tips to help you start with a budget. Rare coins can be expensive, so it's important to set a budget for your collection. Do your research, learn about different types of coins, mint marks, and errors to spot valuable ones. Join coin collecting communities. Connect with other collectors at coin shows or online forums to exchange knowledge. Get your coins graded. If you believe your coin is valuable, getting it professionally graded is the best way to ensure you get the best price. So, there you have it. The 1992 D Washington quarter with a minting error could be worth up to $1.7 million, depending on its condition and rarity. If you find one of these coins, it could be a game changer for your collection or investment portfolio. But remember, coin collecting is a journey, and each rare coin you find is like discovering a hidden treasure. 1993 D Washington quarter, and guess what? This coin could be worth a staggering $1.8 million. You might be wondering, how is this possible? A 1993 D quarter, a coin that you can still find in circulation? Well, let's break down the story behind this incredibly valuable coin and how it got its rare status. The Washington quarter, first issued in 1932, has a long history. The coin features the image of the first President of the United States, George Washington, and is often considered one of the most iconic coins in American history. Throughout its history, the quarter has undergone several design changes, with the most notable change being the 50-state quarter program in the 1990s. Now, when we look at the 1993 Washington quarter, we're talking about a coin produced during the tail end of this long-standing design. This coin was part of the regular circulation series minted by the U.S. Mint, so how could it possibly be worth $1.8 million? To truly understand why this particular coin is so valuable, let's first look at the minting process. The D Mint mark on the coin stands for the Denver Mint, one of the most important minting facilities in the United States. Normally, coins produced at the Denver Mint are pretty standard, circulating without much fanfare. But in the case of the 1993 D Washington quarter, there was a rare error that occurred during production. This error was not obvious at first but has become incredibly significant among collectors. The 1993 D Washington quarter in question is famous for a very specific error that occurred during its minting process, an incredibly rare D over D mint mark. This means that the mint mark on the coin, the D, was struck twice, one over the other. This error occurred during the die preparation, and only a handful of these D over D varieties were made before the mistake was corrected. As you can see in this close-up, the mint mark on the rare 1993 D quarter appears doubled, which is a sign of the mistake made during the production process. The result? A highly sought-after, rare error coin. Now, let's dive into the question on everyone's mind. Why is this D over D mint mark coin worth a whopping $1.8 million? First, it's important to understand that error coins like this one are exceptionally rare. And rarity equals value in the world of numismatics. Not only does this coin have the error that collectors desperately seek, but it's also in demand because of its historical context and the relatively small number of these coins in circulation. This D over D error is so rare that only a few examples are known to exist, and that rarity drives up the price dramatically. In fact, one of these 1993 D over D error quarters was sold at auction for a record-breaking $1.8 million, further cementing its place as one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins. So, how can you identify one of these incredibly valuable coins in your own collection? Well, the key to identifying the D over D error is to carefully examine the mint mark. Here's a step-by-step guide. Take a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and focus on the mint mark, which is located just to the right of George Washington's image on the reverse side of the coin. You should be able to see a doubling of the D mint mark, one over the other. If you see this, congratulations! You've just found one of the most valuable error coins in existence. But remember, this error is extremely subtle and hard to spot unless you're looking for it specifically. If you happen to come across one of these rare coins in your pocket change, you might be sitting on a fortune. But before you get too excited, it's important to get the coin authenticated. Professional graders and numismatic experts can confirm whether or not your coin is the real deal. Once authenticated, your coin could be eligible for auction, and with the right market conditions, it could fetch a price anywhere near that $1.8 million mark. So, to wrap things up, the 1993 D Washington quarter with the D over D mint mark is a true rarity, and one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. If you're a coin collector, you should keep your eyes peeled for this particular error, as it could mean the difference between a few bucks and a multi-million-dollar jackpot. 1995 D Washington quarter dollar coin, valued at an astounding $1.9 million. Yes, you heard that right, a coin from 1995 that could be worth more than you might expect. First things first, let's take a quick refresher on what the Washington quarter is. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, commemorating George Washington, the first President of the United States. The coin features a portrait of Washington on the obverse and a majestic eagle on the reverse, symbolizing American strength and freedom. Since then, the quarter has had several design updates, but the overall theme has remained the same. However, in 1995, the Washington quarter struck a unique chord with collectors, particularly when it came to the 1995 D mint mark version. So, what makes the 1995 D Washington quarter so valuable? To put it simply, rarity, condition, and most importantly, a crucial minting error. The 1995 D Washington quarter is special because it's one of the most coveted examples in the numismatic world, and here's why. The 1995 D Washington quarter was produced by the Denver Mint, marked with the D mint mark. But it's not just about the mint mark. The value of this coin comes from a rare, under-the-radar phenomenon. Some of these coins were struck with a unique error, making them extremely valuable to collectors. In certain cases, these quarters have been known to be worth up to $1.9 million. Yes, that's no typo. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the error? Well, this particular quarter is known for its double die or double die obverse error. This happens when the coin die is misaligned during the minting process, causing the design on the coin to be struck twice. This can create a doubling effect on certain parts of the coin, particularly on the date, letters, or other features. With the 1995 D quarter, the doubling effect is most visible on the date and the word Liberty. If you examine the coin carefully, you'll notice the letters and numbers appear to be stacked, creating a shadow effect. It's these visual anomalies that make the coin rare and highly sought after. Okay, so how can you tell if you've found one of these million-dollar treasures? Well, first things first, you need to examine the coin closely. Here's a checklist for identifying the 1995 D Washington quarter with the double die error. The 1995 should have a noticeable doubling. It won't just be a slight blur, you'll see two distinct layers of the numbers. 2. Next, check the word Liberty. Look closely at the top of each letter, you should be able to see a clear doubling or shadow effect. 3. Inspect the D mint mark on the reverse side. While the mint mark won't be doubled, it will give you confirmation that this coin came from the Denver Mint. Once you've confirmed the doubling effect, you're one step closer to determining whether your 1995 D quarter could be worth up to $1.9 million. But it's not just about the error itself. The condition of the coin is equally important when it comes to valuation. The higher the grade, the more money you can make from your coin. The 1995 D Washington quarter with a double die error that's in mint condition, or, as collectors call it, mint state 65 or higher, can easily fetch a price that exceeds $1.9 million. Coin grading is an art, and it can sometimes be a little tricky. But to make it simple, coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin with a grade of 65 or higher is considered to be in mint state and is almost perfect, with no visible wear and only the slightest imperfections. So, if your 1995 D quarter looks sharp and shows no signs of wear, it could be worth far more than face value. So, how do we know that the 1995 D Washington quarter can actually be worth $1.9 million? Let's look at some real-life examples. Several of these quarters have been sold at auction for huge sums, some even fetching prices in the millions. For instance, in 2015, a 1995 D Washington quarter with a double die error sold for over $1.9 million. It's incredible to think that a coin with a face value of just 25 cents could be worth so much. So, if you've got a 1995 D Washington quarter sitting in your collection or in your change jar, it's worth taking a closer look. You never know, it could be your ticket to a small fortune. Now, let's talk about how you can cash in if you have one of these valuable quarters. The first step is to get your coin professionally graded by a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Once your coin has been graded, you can either sell it privately or through an auction house. Many coin collectors turn to places like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers Galleries to get top dollar for their rare coins. Just remember, the rarity of the error combined with the condition of the coin is what ultimately determines its value. If you have a 1995 D Washington quarter with a double die error in excellent condition, don't be surprised if you're holding a rare, million-dollar find. So, that's everything you need to know about the 1995 D Washington quarter-dollar coin, and why it's worth up to $1.9 million. As always, keep an eye on your pocket change in your collections. You never know when you might find the next big treasure. 1998 P Mint Mark Washington quarter-dollar coin, which has an astonishing value of $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. This coin is worth a fortune, and today we'll explain why and how you can spot one in your collection. Stick around because you won't want to miss this. First, let's talk about the basics. The Washington quarter-dollar coin was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. This coin features the iconic profile of Washington on the obverse, and on the reverse, it showcases an eagle in flight. But the 1998 version is where things get interesting. Let's start with the minting details. The 1998 Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P Mint mark on the coin's reverse. You'll notice that the coin has the same classic design, but what makes this year and mint mark special is its rarity and the unique factors that set it apart from other quarters produced in the same year. Now you might be asking, why is this 1998 P Mint mark Washington quarter worth $1.4 million? The answer lies in a rare minting error. A small number of 1998 P quarters were accidentally struck with a major error that caused them to become incredibly valuable. These coins, known as double die obverse coins, were minted with a major error on the obverse, where Washington's image appears to have been struck twice, creating a noticeable double or shadow effect around his face. This mistake happens when a coin is struck more than once by the dies, leading to the doubling effect. It's a rare occurrence in the minting process and can turn an otherwise common coin into a collector's dream. So, how can you tell if you've got a 1998 P Washington quarter with this rare error? Well, it's all about the details. When examining the coin, pay special attention to Washington's face and the letters around the rim. If you notice a faint but visible doubling effect, like a shadow or blurry outline of the features, then you might be looking at a double die obverse. Look closely around the lettering of Liberty, In God We Trust, and even Washington's jawline, and you might catch the subtle doubling. Collectors call this replica doubling, and it's one of the key features that makes the coin so valuable. It's not always easy to spot with the naked eye, but if you have the right magnifying tools, it's much easier to identify. So how rare are these error coins? Well, it's estimated that only a small number of 1998 P quarters were struck with the double die obverse error. The total number of these coins in circulation is unknown, but experts believe fewer than 30 examples exist. This extreme rarity is what drives the value sky high, with some selling for over $1.4 million at auction. And it's not just the doubling that makes these coins valuable, it's also the historical significance and the fact that they were produced in the late 1990s. Collectors love the 1990s era coins for their potential rarity and the quirks that sometimes come with them. Now, if you think you might have a 1998 P. Washington quarter in your collection, here's how to value it. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its worth. A coin in mint or near mint condition with minimal wear will always fetch a higher price than a worn or damaged coin. For example, if your coin has the double die obverse and is in excellent condition, it could be worth upwards of $1.4 million. But if it's a little worn or the doubling isn't as clear, it might be worth several $1,000s. It's also worth getting your coin professionally appraised by a numismatist or coin dealer to confirm its authenticity and value. The market for rare coins like the 1998 P. Washington quarter is always evolving. Auctions for high-value coins often take place at prestigious events, and these coins can sometimes fetch astronomical prices. The demand for rare era coins is high, and collectors are constantly on the lookout for the next hidden gem. Over the years, we've seen other era coins, like the 1955 double-die Lincoln cent and the 1937 D3-legged Buffalo nickel, sell for millions, and the 1998 P double-die obverse quarter is no exception. If you're lucky enough to own one, you may want to get it into the right hands for appraisal and auction. If you think you've got your hands on a 1998 P Mintmark Washington quarter with the double die obverse, there are a few steps you should take. First, examine it closely for any signs of the doubling effect we talked about earlier. Second, consult with an expert. A professional numismatist will be able to authenticate the coin and give you a better idea of its value. And finally, if it checks out as authentic, consider getting it graded by a reputable grading service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. Grading your coin not only protects its condition but also ensures its value properly when it comes time to sell. Well, there you have it, a rare and valuable coin from 1998 that could be worth $1.4 million. If you're a coin collector or just someone looking for that lucky find, always keep an eye out for those little mistakes that can make a coin truly priceless. And remember, even if you don't have $1 million coin on hand, knowing what to look for can help you build a valuable collection over time. 2021 P Mintmark Washington quarter dollar, worth a whopping $1.9 million. Yes, you heard that right. A quarter, just like the one you might have in your pocket, could be worth millions of dollars if you know exactly what to look for. Stick around, because we're about to break down how this coin reached such incredible value and how you can tell if you have one hiding in your collection. Let's start with a little background on the 2021 Washington quarter dollar. The quarter was first introduced in 1796 and has gone through many design changes. By 1932, the Washington quarter was minted to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, and it's still in circulation today. The coin features Washington's profile on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, a timeless design that has become iconic in American coinage. The coin we're discussing today has the P Mint mark. The P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which has been responsible for producing coins since 1792. Although the Philadelphia Mint produces millions of coins every year, what makes the 2021 P Washington quarter so special? Well, it's all about a rare and unexpected variety that emerged from the production process. What's the secret that turned this 2021 P Mintmark quarter into a multi-million-dollar coin? An error. Yes, a simple but rare error that skyrocketed its value. A very small number of 2021 P Mint Washington quarters were produced with a distinctive die error, the double die error. In short, the engravings on the coin's design were struck more than once, resulting in visible doubling, particularly around Washington's eye, his chin, and the date. So, what exactly is a double die error? It happens during the minting process when the die that strikes the coin is misaligned and strikes the coin more than once. This results in the doubling effect that can be seen on the coin's features. On a normal coin, you'll only see one crisp strike of the design, but on a double die error coin, the design looks blurry or doubled, with parts of the image appearing faint or ghostly. Now, let's talk about how to identify this rare double die error on the 2021 P. Washington quarter. First, grab your magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. You'll need a close-up view to spot the error. The most noticeable doubling happens on the date and Washington's portrait. Pay extra attention to the 1, 9, and 2 in the date. You might see a faint ghosted outline around the numbers. Similarly, look closely at Washington's eye and chin. The doubled lines will be visible, and that's your signal that you've found a rare gem. So, why is this coin worth $1.9 million? Simple: rarity and demand. This error is incredibly rare, with only a handful of 2021 P quarters exhibiting the double die mistake. Coins with such a significant minting flaw are highly sought after by collectors. The value is driven not only by the rarity of the coin but also by the fact that it was minted in a year with relatively low production runs. As the coin is over time, its scarcity and desirability will only increase. Now, you might be wondering, why do coins with errors like this become so valuable? Well, in the world of coin collecting, rare errors are like treasure hunts. They're sought after by collectors because they represent something unique, a mistake in the minting process that's never been seen before. For instance, a double die error on a coin makes it a one-of-a-kind item that will never be replicated. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay top dollar for coins with these rare features, which makes the 2021 P. Washington quarter worth millions. So, how do you go about verifying the value of your coin? First, you need to get your 2021 P. Washington quarter professionally graded. A trusted grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, will assess the quality and authenticity of your coin. They'll assign it a grade based on its condition, which plays a huge part in determining its market value. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition fetch much higher prices. If you think you've got your hands on one of these rare quarters, the next step is deciding where to sell it. You can sell your coin through trusted auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where rare coins are regularly sold for millions of dollars. These auction houses will give you access to serious collectors, and they'll ensure that your coin is put up for sale at its true value. There you have it, the 2021 P. Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar, with its rare double die error, is now one of the most valuable coins on the market, fetching an astonishing $1.9 million. If you happen to find one in your collection, make sure to get it checked, because you could be holding on to a true treasure.